It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, episode 56. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Saturday. Oh, you heard that right. It's not a Sunday. A little bit early. November 11th, 2023. So welcome to the show, the greatest show about video games on the planet and much more. That's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome. Hope you've been doing good out there. Welcome back to the Dep Lewis Show after a whole week. We have some exciting things going on in the Dep Lewis Show universe. We're going to talk about that today and have a great show in general. The video games have been popping off. I've been playing a bunch of great games, and there's a bunch of great games out there in the universe. So there's no shortage of video game stuff to talk about or speculate on or be excited about or get hyped for or discuss. So that is perfect timing for the Dep Lewis Show. So welcome to the show today. So the first thing I want to get you to do is some extracurricular activities to help out the Dep Lewis Show more so than just listening like you're doing right now. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a squirrel, tell a bird, tell a dog, tell a cat, tell someone who's skinny, tell someone who's fat, tell anyone. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So basically anywhere podcasts are available, you can listen to the Dep Lewis Show. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. I'll have some more of those for you this week again. And then twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. And then the best place to follow is patreon.com/DepLewisShow. As of now, you can get a second weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. So episode 1 came out yesterday. So please subscribe to patreon.com/DepLewisShow. And we'll talk about this more at the end of the show. So today's show, got a great show for you today, and a regular old structure of a Dep Lewis Show. We got the first section talking about the video games we've been playing. So let's see. 1, 2, there's 3 games to talk about there, and 2 really great story games and 1 multiplayer I want to talk about. And the midsection this week is where we talk about video game news, video game releases, all the stuff across the video game landscape. So we're going to talk about we got some hardware to talk about this week. We got 3 pieces of hardware to talk about. We're going to talk about some announcements, some teasers, some releases, some fests, some sales numbers. We're going to get into some movies, and a game was canceled. So there's a lot of information in the midsection this week. So, you want to listen to this whole episode very intently. And then the final section of the show, the third section, will be the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I talk about anything outside of video games. And this week we're going to talk about a comedy special I enjoyed. I watched it this week, and then we're going to get into a book I've started reading, and then we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports. So we got a great show today here on the Dep Lewis Show. So welcome to it. So let's get into some new stuff. Let's see. What do I want to tell you about? Yeah, the main thing I want to tell you about up top is patreon.com/DepLewisShow. If you go subscribe to the $1 ground floor tier, I'm going to go ahead and read this at the beginning of the show since this is new. The $1 a month for the ground floor tier on patreon.com/DepLewisShow is for the first 100 patrons only. With this tier, you will gain access to an additional weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. Episode 1 is out now. This podcast releases on Wednesday and is a great way to get additional content and support the show. Patreon also has ad-free versions of the Dep Lewis Show's off series, plus more. And after the first 100 patrons, the regular price for this tier will begin. So get in while it's hot. This is an investment for your entertainment future. Ground floor tier pricing will never change and will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. So thank you for the support. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, is have a second podcast exclusive to Patreon. This one is going to be just a shorter length, freestyle kind of episode with no plan. So it's just going to kind of get me started down this train of where I want to go to. So it's going to get me prepared for, eventually having, a second longer form, something more fully fleshed on the Patreon, or even more content on Patreon. So, I'm hoping I can do that with your support, and that is the plan here. So please go look at patreon.com/DepLewisShow. I'll mention this again at the end of the show and going forward, but, if you love this show, there's a second opportunity to listen to some Dep Lewis Show content during the week on patreon.com. So I'm not going to beat you over the head with it, but I am going to mention it every episode because I would love to get some support over there on the Patreon. So please go check it out. It was very fun to do it. It's a little bit of a challenge kind of thing to myself. So, and you can join along with me and see how it goes. So it should be pretty fun. So go check me out. All right, so let's get into some regular Dep Lewis showing. We have a sip of some water. I'm actually drinking a nice beverage here since I'm doing this on a Saturday evening. So it's going to be a great show. I was just pretty much fully prepared with all these notes. So I wanted to get into it tonight. And I can release it early and, get ready for the next week and all the next week of great Dep Lewis Show things. So let's get into it. I like to do some notes from last show. Was there anything I wanted to talk about more from last show that I didn't have the information on? And one thing was a term from Pikmin 4 that I've been learning about, and that term is Dandori, Dandori. And I've learned that this is a Japanese word that can be roughly translated as, in parentheses, the procedure for carrying out a plan, or the preparation before carrying out a plan. In the Pikmin series, it was introduced as an in-universe world and concept in Pikmin 4, being explained as the ability to organize tasks strategically and working effectively to execute plans. While not officially mentioned before this in Pikmin 4, Dandori is a key concept applicable to the Pikmin series as a whole. So, a pretty cool thing. I haven't played any Pikmin in the last week, but I still have been thinking about this term, even in my regular daily life of, what I have to get done during the day, even if it's something simple like, do some laundry, or like a bigger task like, go to work today, or, whatever it may be. Even on my day off, trying to plan out things like if I need to go to the store, or if I'm out of coffee, I like to go to a certain coffee shop and buy beans or whatever it may be, just stuff like that. So Dandori, I think you can make it as stressful or stress-free as you'd like, but I've been trying to. It's just been nice knowing it as a concept and as a term. I've just been thinking about it a little more, and I think that's how you probably make some changes across your life. So we'll see. Some Dandori is pretty cool. I plan to get back into some more Pikmin 4. So that's been a very fun game, but I've just been having a lot of other games going right now. We're going to talk about those in just a minute since we're almost to the first section of the show. But the last thing I want to say is just a note to myself to be a great podcaster. Watch my ands and ums, watch my mic noises, do better, and then slow down in general is probably good advice too. So I'm going to have a sip of this great drink. Slow down, and then good advice, and then good reminder to do again if no other notes. So yep, that's just my last little note to myself before the podcast. So I'm sorry my chair is making that noise. I should possibly think about that. But all right, let's get into it. This is Dep Lewis Show, episode 56, first section of the show. What video games have I been playing? And the first one I've been playing a whole lot of it today on this Saturday, and that is Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And I've been loving this game a whole lot. I gotta say it's in there for the contention for Game of the Year. It's definitely up there in the mix. My notes, the web wings, I think is one of the greatest additions to this game. So you can basically fly now. You can feel like Superman. Just, this game is already up there for having a great, open world mechanic of getting around with Spider-Man swinging. And it's pretty amazing that they've added another ability that's just as cool as the swinging into the game. So you basically have two functions of getting around the town, around the city that's way bigger than, I just played Miles Morales recently, and it's way bigger than that area, which has been cool. You have to hop over water and stuff like that in certain scenarios and go over bridges, and it's a pretty big world, and there's different areas, and you can see all the different sports fields. I saw a baseball field earlier today. I've seen football, I've seen basketball. There's museums, there's all sorts of parks. I think they just make a really great world here, and then being able to traverse the world like you can is really cool. You can look on the side of buildings and see like giant banners that say for lease and just like, advertisements and things like that. The world is super cool here, and it's just really impressive. It really is. And it's cool. You can play the two spiders. All the new suits are cool. Early on, I think last week I reported I was kind of using the more traditional suits for Miles and Peter, but I've kind of moved on to some of the crazier stuff now, and it's been cool. I was, wanting to be able to differentiate between the two Spider-Men, but it's pretty easy to do if you just pay attention for half a second. So I've been getting into some more of the funky suits. I haven't really had too much that I haven't been able to unlock if I want to, which has been nice. But I've also been doing a good bit of the side stuff. I ran through Miles Morales pretty quickly since I just played that right before this. So I've been taking this one a little more slowly and doing some of the crime stuff around the city. I've been doing all the collectible stuff and missions around the map that are not progressing the story. All the ancillary things this game has to offer and the previous two games had to offer, all very like valuable and fun and nice to do. So I've been doing a nice mix of both, and it's been really fun. So this is a good game if you want to do some open world stuff. You can listen to a podcast such as this Dep Lewis Show, or you can be watching a football game on the other screen. Like it's pretty good for the open world stuff to not have your complete focus. So I like that in this game. But then when you want to advance some story, you really focus in and get some enjoyment. So it's been really, really fun. Really enjoying that. The skill tree has been pretty good. There's some stuff on there I don't want to interact with necessarily, so I find that a little bit disappointing. But I like this game has more moves than I think you could ever really use or need, and this is giving you even more of them. But I do like leveling them up. I really mainly focused on the traversal stuff early on, and the things I feel like I have left are just more like combat stuff that are specific to certain scenarios that I don't necessarily use. I do like the combat a whole lot in this game, but I have a decent rhythm going with what I like to do and how I like to fight, so I don't really feel like I need too much more. And I just wanted to say that a little bit about the skill tree. You can pick between Peter's skills, Miles' skills, and then there's a combo one of things they can both do. So I don't know which. I've been favoring kind of the dual spider one, but I think I've been doing more stuff on Peter's than Miles. But I really like their abilities. I like that you can hit L1 and you have all 4 different moves you can do on each spider, and they're different, and that makes it pretty fun. So I've really been liking that though. So there is that's just one little bit of a knock I can say on the skill tree. Is one thing I wasn't finding all the way cool, but I've been thing I've been liking all the way, that it's all the way cool, or all the characters, Miles and his friends, Genki's there, Haley's there. There's a new love interest, and they're really kind of talking that up a little bit. Miles' mom's back. We got Peter, we got MJ, we got Harry. Peter and Harry are doing some things in there, kind of fulfilling some of their long-lived dreams of possibly working together and just having a good relationship and being friends again in this older stage of their life. So that's been pretty nice to see. And then MJ, I like when I'm talking to her. And then apparently there's some MJ section in this game again, just like the first game. So I'm looking forward to those, even though I've heard some like negative things about that, of people just trying to get through those. And I feel like I kind of remember that from the first game. I feel like I might have shared that perspective, but I really don't remember. So I'm just kind of trying to go in open-minded. And I like what I see from MJ as a character, so I'm really kind of hopeful more than anything, but we will see. And I like I mentioned, Peter's trying to get a real job. It was a pretty cool section when you get to go tour the, basically going to do your interview at Harry's office. It's this giant office, and it's really cool. You get to walk through and see everything. It's like a giant research facility, lab, museum kind of thing all in one. And I like the sections like that where you get to walk around and in like a inner area in third person, and you're walking around exploring things, talking to people, getting to see some like really, really high detail things besides just like swinging around the city. So there's some really cool inside, graphical things. And it reminds me, in some of the scenes, like we're in the house in like Last of Us, and that's the one that I was really thinking of. It was reminding me of. It's really up to that kind of quality where you want to look around the room and look at every little item and everything it kind of gives you in the, depending on what area you're in. So Marvel Spider-Man 2 has been very, very fun. I like all the enemies. You got the Hunter. He's a really great villain seemingly so far. He's hunting down all the supervillains is his plan. So, Miles and Peter have some, different kind of relationships with the villains of the town. So that adds a dynamic. They might necessarily not want them all to die. Kind of like the Black Cat. I kind of forget what her name is, but I just had that section where he was helping out the Black Cat, and that's what Miles was doing. That was a pretty fun section, and she was opening portals, and we were going all across the city. And I think it's cool that there's still sand all over the city in certain sections. I know I'm having to go get those crystals and fighting the sand guys, but I think it's a nice touch that you'll just be going around the city and seeing sand on the ground, and I think it's a nice touch just for what's going on and some of the chaos going on around this world. And then RIP to a certain character that's already passed away. The Hunter took him out. He tried to take out the Hunter, and then he got taken out himself. And they were just showing off his armor about how strong it was and how like impenetrable it was. And they were doing all these tests and shooting these guns at this armor. And then he gets immediately killed by, I think Craven is his name, right? I hope that's right. The Hunter. He gets killed by him in like 4 seconds flat or whatever, even shorter than that. But you just see his body there. So, that's pretty sad, but, these bad guys doing bad things are going to get caught up in the mix, these bad guys doing these things. So, Spider-Man's got to figure it out. So, Marvel Spider-Man 2 has been very fun.
I think it's climbing up the charts for best game of the year for me, for sure. It's up there in the mix with Zelda and Super Mario Bros. Wonder and this. And the next game I'm going to talk about could be a possible contender too. And it's been like a game I've been hearing is a lot of people's dark horse contender, and it just came out. It's something very new, but it's been hitting very hard. It's been exceeding people's expectations, and I have now purchased it. So let's talk about the next game I'm playing. So the next game I've been playing on the Dep Lewis Show in this past week is Alan Wake 2. So Alan Wake 2, developed by Remedy. I'm a pretty big fan of the first Alan Wake, so I picked this up. I'm not always so tough with, survival horror games, but I feel like Alan Wake has enough like good story and character building, and it does a little more than just trying to scare you with spooky stuff. Like it does things pretty smartly, or I guess not smartly is a bad way to say it, intelligently and interesting. So it's been really fun. It's been a great start. I've been enjoying it. I've been kind of taking it slow. There are 2 characters you can play in this game, Saga Anderson, FBI agent, and then Alan Wake, the famous author. And I've really been liking Saga. You start off the game, playing her a lot, and I've been liking all the interactions. The first thing that kind of spooked me out is there's a character at a diner that starts asking Saga some questions and making Saga question her own, sanity, and that was really tripping me out. So there's some really, really good mind game stuff going on in here. There's been a murder that happens. They're determining who did the murder. They're pinning it on a cult, and they're trying to learn about this cult. And then it seems like whoever is leading these murders is also toying with the FBI agents, including Saga Anderson. So that's the whole mystery here. They're trying to solve the murder, and then they also are getting gamed with by the bad guys, and they're realizing that. And then the world is also doing supernatural stuff in front of their faces, which they have never seen before. According to them in this world, it's not like these things are ordinary to them. So they are discovering supernatural things in real time and dealing with them, and then still having the wherewithal to keep trying to investigate and keep moving forward. So I guess they got the right people on the job for this, but it's been a very interesting start to this game. So I love the exploratory stuff in the game. It looks amazing. The graphics do look really great. I'm in a section now where it was very dark and I couldn't see, and I do have the brightness up because I always turn it up in these type of games. And this section was just intentionally dark, and then you get your flashlight. So I just got to the area. I am back. You start in Cauldron Lake. You leave Cauldron Lake for a bit, and then you come back to Cauldron Lake. So that's where I'm at now. And it's dark, and I got my flashlight, and I'm out there with my agent friend, and we are on the hunt for some information. And all the text is good. I've been enjoying reading everything across the world. And in the menus, and the voice acting is great, impressive, and it's properly scary. I think it's doing a good job of being scary in your face a little bit, but then it's kind of more so, psychologically scary and mentally scary. So, and Nightingale is doing a little bit of both. Mr. Nightingale getting murdered, and then, doing some different things, and just trying not to spoil too much in this game, really, besides the setup a little bit and things that have been revealed already. But this game is very, very interesting and very fun. And I'm going to continue playing and talking about it. So Alan Wake 2 has been living up to the hype. I can see why everyone's so excited about it. And I like that it's doing, a few different things. I don't think it's completely fitting into one genre. And it's doing a lot. It has, some humor in there involved. There's some, live action, like mocap videos in there, and, TV things. And I really do like the menu thing where you're the mind space where you're putting together the cases and your clues you get. That's actually a pretty interesting thing. And I heard Jeff Gerstmann talking about on his show this week about how actually it catches you up on some things, and it's actually pretty nice. It's not like a annoying thing to go back there and trigger these clues in place. It actually gives you a little bit of oh yeah, I do remember finding that thing, and that was what that was talking about, and there is that one character, and this was the clue we found, or blah blah blah. But the whole game, the whole package has been great. Alan Wake 2 seemed like a pretty good hit, and I'm going to keep playing it. Just typically these games, I'm not a big game finisher, but I'm going to try my best here. This one's a little bit out of my range, but I did like Alan Wake 1 a whole lot. I don't remember if I finished it back in the day, but I'll keep you updated because that's the plan of this whole show. Alan Wake 2 seeming very cool. All right, the third game I want to talk about there's another game that I've been back playing, and this has been, I say back playing. I didn't really play it too much before. This has been the most I've ever played of it recently, and I really like it, and that is Fortnite. And the OG season is going on, so it's, reliving all the past seasons of Fortnite lore and history. And I've learned this week that there's different stuff going on every week. So I think that the week 2 just started on the 9th, November 9th. So it's added some new stuff to the game, like the hoverboard and the ATV. And it seems like it adds different weapons and, some different items across the world each week until the end of the season. So that's pretty fun too. And it's been fun. I've been getting some victory royales. I've been playing trios. Have been the main thing I've been playing. I've tried solo maybe twice, and it's just not really my thing, but you might be seeing some footage of me dropping in solo this week for a clip, and that run did not end very well, but we've been having some good success in our trio team. We call it our night squad and night gang and night team, night crew, and we've been finishing top 5 a lot, and then, getting at least one victory pretty much every time we play, so that's been pretty fun. The other night we played for a good bit and got the victory on the end, so it's been a pretty good 3-man trio, and we might have a quattro one day, and it's been really fun. So, I've been playing it on the PlayStation. I've been kind of primarily playing PlayStation these days since I've been completing some games on there, so I'm trying to ride that wave. I've been using my Ray skin. I've been looking so good out there. I'm repping the Jedis. I've been using a shotgun mainly, and an assault rifle are the 2 things I'm looking for. And if I can get an assault rifle with the scope, I've been liking that generally. So there's been some cool weapons. You can be a bush. One of my friends, friend of the show, Merc, and friend of real life, he uses every outlandish item and thing on the map. So he'll be a bush. He'll be riding on the ATV. We call him Balloon Boy because he used to use those balloons. So, if there's ever a funny item in this game, he'll be playing it, and I can report it to you. But, just look out for people walking around like a bush because they are fools and they will shoot you. And then the store, the Fortnite item shop It's been stripped down because it's trying to emulate the old store, I guess, and it's been having some OG options. And it's been getting somewhat better. It's been pretty lackluster the whole season, but there's been a few things on there recently where I've, some of those dances are kind of funny to those, like pretty much like TikTok or viral songs you can think of, and some of those are pretty funny to see your character like Ray dancing or whatever. So I might pick one of those up at some point, but I really do just like looking at the skins and all the things on the store, and I wish there was more on there. So that's been one little disappointing thing about this OG season, but I really can't complain about Fortnite. It's a free game. It's been a whole lot of fun. I have multiple friends playing it, consistently nowadays, and able to jump in and get some games with them, and I just kind of hope that continues. And I'm going to keep talking about it in this first section. You're probably going to be hearing about it for a while, it seems like. So, that's a new wrinkle to this podcast I didn't think we would have. We having a Fortnite section here in the What I've Been Playing section for a lot of weeks, but it looks like where we're going. So that's going to wrap up the What I've Been Playing this week. So I've been playing Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, and then Fortnite. So those have been the main things I've been playing. I anticipate myself playing all 3 of those games in the upcoming week, and maybe some later today even. I really have played a lot of Spider-Man today. I probably played over 3 hours of it. So, I'm not usually, I do a video game podcast, but I'm not one for really, really long settings. And been having some recently with Spider-Man and even Fortnite. We've had a couple, multiple hour little runs doing that. So it's been really fun, and I've been enjoying it, and it's giving me some great things to tell you about here on the Dep Lewis Show. So we're going to take the first break of the show, and we're going to come back for the midsection, where I talk about all the stuff across the video game landscape from the last week. So releases and things like that, and there's some cool hardware stuff I want to talk to you about this week. So you're definitely not going to want to miss it. It's a pretty heavy mid-section, so we got a lot of mid to smoke, and I hope you're ready for it. So listen to this music and come right back for the mid-section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 56, in just a few. Welcome back to the mid-section of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 56. This is the mid-section where I talk about all the things across the video game landscape, the video game world, the video game universe, all the things you need to know that I think are cool from the last week. So let's talk about some hardware. So a new SKU has been announced for the Steam Deck, a Steam Deck OLED. So a Steam Deck with an OLED screen, pretty amazing. I'm a pretty big fan of the Switch OLED, so this is pretty enticing. I've wanted a Steam Deck since it's been released, and this is going to make me want one even more. So if you're saying this will put your games in a whole new light, the Steam Deck OLED starts at $549. And it's releasing on November 16th, 2023. So if you're listening in real time, only 5 days away. You can wish list this now on Steam, and you can, I don't know if you can pre-order. I think maybe you can. I should have checked on that, but go check it out on Steam right now if you're listening in real time. There's a few different options available. Let me skip down here and tell you about the options. There is a 512 gigabyte OLED for $549. So that's the base model of the OLED. There is 1 terabyte OLED for $649. These are US dollars. And then there is 1 terabyte OLED limited edition version for $679. And I got to see Dan Reichert on Giant Bomb playing that and holding that thing, and that's pretty dang cool. So let's see what else this Steam Deck is doing. It has an OLED screen with a larger picture, has better battery life. So there's some more improvements. That's the thing here to note, that there's some more improvements going on with this besides just the screen. And I think that's a pretty nice thing that they're doing here with this iteration. It's not like Steam Deck 2. And some people were saying, hey, it's not like OLED for Switch. They're actually doing a little bit more. I'm not trying to knock the OLED on Switch, but that really was the only change there. And I don't know if it affected the battery life, but this one has a larger picture, a better battery life, faster Wi-Fi, and then they're saying on top of world-class ergonomics and an intuitive console-like experience. So the OLED will give you brighter colors and blacker blacks. Steam Deck's HDR OLED display is designed from the ground up for gaming with striking contrast, brilliant clarity, and a larger picture. With more colors, pure blacks, and amazing motion rendition, you'll see your games in a new light. This also has overhauled internals, which are making battery life longer and downloads faster. So downloads faster is another one in there they're touting. At the same time, the device is also a bit lighter and cooler, and I have heard that it is lighter. The fan is not as loud, and those are all really nice improvements and a great incentive to go get a new Steam Deck. So more than the OLED screen, there are improvements inside and out, is what they're saying. There's also a updated carrying case. There's a better touch screen, so that's another hardware improvement. And they are saying it's easier to repair and mod. So, that sounds like a home run to me, pretty much, for this. And so I think the only one you can buy right now for the base model Steam Deck for a brand new one is a 256 gigabyte LCD is $399. So that's the cheapest you can get out for a Steam Deck right now. And I don't know if they'll be dropping the price on that. And I don't know if if it would be something I should look into if the price does drop for me, copping an OG Steam Deck. But I really would like to get an OLED one. So maybe it's more of like a, plan to get that at some point, or, figure out a plan to get that instead of trying to settle. So we'll see. I would love to have one of these and try it out. It's been kind of a long time coming, and this is the second iteration, so it would be a pretty opportune time to get in the mix here with one of these OLEDs. So we will see. Steam Decks are very cool, and I think that's all I wanted to tell you about. But that was a pretty big announcement this week. Giant Bomb does have a cool video of they're getting told, it's Dan and Jan. They're getting told they're going to Valve for an announcement, and they're presuming that it's going to be some type of Steam Deck update, and they even say that before, but I think they were pretty surprised with the results of it. So go check out their video on Giant Bomb. It was it was actually pretty short, 15 minute video, and they show off the Steam Deck and they show off their journey to Valve a little bit, and it was a really cool video, and those guys are cool anyway. So Steam Deck OLED coming out on the 16th of November 2023. Alright, some more hardware that is coming out is the PlayStation Portal. So the PlayStation Portal remote player, it gives you access to the games on your PS5 over your home Wi-Fi, letting you jump right into gaming without needing to play on a TV. So this will be available the day before the Steam Deck OLED on November 15th, 2023, and it will cost you $199.99 of US dollars. So $200 for this device. And with this device, you can play your game collection. You can experience breathtaking immersion with the DualSense wireless controller features. It has a beautiful 8-inch LCD screen, so LCD. We just did a lot of talking about OLED. It's touting 60 frames per second, capable at 1080p resolution. Get gaming fast, no TV needed to play, no living room required, and pre-orders are now live. So this is something, and I watched PS I Love You did an unboxing of this and talking about this. I watched their YouTube video. I would recommend that. It had Greg Miller, Blessing, and then they had Janet in there coming through on the Zoom call or whatever it may be. So it was a good crew of people, and they had the next piece of hardware we're going to talk about, and they had the PS Portal, and they also opened there's some new earbuds that Sony's selling that go along with this PS Portal that work pretty great. because the PS Portal does not have Bluetooth. That's one of the things about this. That's definitely kind of one negative, but I don't even know if I'm going to be interested in purchasing this, because you do have to have a PS5. So know that if you're listening about this PlayStation Portal remote player, if you don't have a PS5, that needs to be your first step. This would only be like a secondary option. You're running off the processing power of your PS5. You're playing on your home Wi-Fi. It's letting you play some games in handheld, and it's supposed to feel pretty great. And I don't know if I'd want this just because of the remote play, but it does make me think that I would like a dedicated handheld device for Sony that I could take on the go with me, like the Switch. I think that would be cool, but I think there's some processing limitations there, and I guess that is what the remote play is coming into. But then you have the Steam Deck that can run some games. So I don't know. There's some interesting things out there. The video game universe is evolving, for the better, and getting more options and different ways to play different things. And even like Fortnite, we're talking about, you can play on mobile to up to the highest levels of PC. So it's pretty crazy, things like that. And that game is fun, and get your friends in there. So the gaming world is just keeps developing, and having these options out there is nice. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that will want this and can use it, but I just don't know if I am the best case scenario for this. But the PlayStation Portal remote player comes out on the 15th for $200 if you're interested. And then some more PlayStation news. So I was talking about that PS I Love You video I watched on YouTube, and they also had the new PlayStation 5 Slim, which is available now. They were selling. I was reading it was selling out quickly online, but I did a search right before this podcast, and you can get one on Amazon right now. But I would anticipate those selling out pretty quickly. They are $499.99 USDs. I saw Amazon has the Spider-Man bundle available right now, but there's apparently also a Call of Duty 3 bundle out. And what else? This has a terabyte of storage, has no vertical stand included. It does have a disk drive, which that's kind of cool. And if you didn't have a PS5, I think this would be a great thing to buy. And especially if you wanted to play Spider-Man. But I think for myself, I'm really enjoying my PlayStation being digital only. I have no, I don't love the way the PlayStation 5 looks. I think it's very big and kind of a weird shape, but I don't have any problem with it. I just got a second controller for it finally. I did get a sale on a controller. It was like $49. They were selling like all the colors for the same price, and they're regularly $75, so that's a pretty good discount. And I got a pink controller, so I'm doing some fresh gaming over here, feeling so good. Finally got a backup controller, and I've been noticing I've been playing on my PlayStation more exclusively, and the controller does kind of run out of battery life pretty decently. So it is. I think it's a pretty important thing to have backup. That's just me selling myself on wanting to get another one, but I think it'll be actually pretty useful and keep me going on these Fortnite sessions I've been having with the night crew. So it's been really fun. So PlayStation 5 Slim available now. Another good option for you if you're in the market for a console, and even had me looking at them out there. So PlayStation 5 Slim available now. Go look for them. So let's get into some games. Let's get out of the hardware and get into some games. So let's talk about this next one. It's a pretty big game from a developer called Rockstar. And they have announced this week that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be getting a reveal trailer arriving in December 2023. The Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, is December 7th, and I've heard some speculation that maybe Rockstar wants to show it off there. But the other argument would be Rockstar wants to do it on their own terms, on their own show, on their own kind of showcase or whatever. But either way, we're getting a Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement December 2023. Grand Theft Auto 5 was released in 2013, so it's been a decade since that game's been released. It's a wonderful video game. I've definitely beaten that one. I can't say I've beaten many video games, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of those that I've completed. And Grand Theft Auto 6 is a day one purchase for me whenever it comes out, and I have high expectations for it, and I believe it'll at least meet those. Would be my guess, because they are incredible, and it's going to be exciting to see what they can do on this current gen of hardware. Getting an upgrade from 10 years ago. They've had a long development time to do this, so they do things right over there for the most part, and it should be a really epic game. So Grand Theft Auto 6, look out for an announcement in December 2023 about something about it. Probably give us a release window of some kind, or a year or something, and I'll definitely tell you about it here on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's the main thing. If you want to get the best video game news, just subscribe to this, or follow this channel and listen every week, and I'll keep you up to date on all the cool stuff. So, no sweat off your back, Keep doing you out there and just listen to this show and get all the info you need. All right, some more teaser stuff that's been going around for a new game is Mass Effect, I guess 5 would be the next one, has received some teaser trailers on N7 on this November 7th, which is N7 Day Pass, which is when BioWare and fans celebrate the science fiction RPG series. A couple teasers for the new Mass Effect, but the company also laying off workers, so a little awkward is the note I've written. So that's kind of a strange combination of a sentence right there, but I guess that is the overall story of this. So there's some uncertainty about the development of this game and in the studio right now, and there's been some public layoffs, and there was also some layoffs at Bungie. So just keep those people in mind, especially if you work for a video game company and need to hire some people. Just be aware these are going on, and especially I guess if you're a worker too, these layoffs happen. I'm learning that a little bit more as I get older, that these layoffs are a little bit cyclical. They're never good. They're never fun. But it seems like just the way of life, and just accepting that's kind of bad. But it just seems like the way it is. And people always say, "Oh, these companies are doing well and they're making money," but they're not making enough money, and they can kind of do whatever they want is the whole thing, and they're gonna do whatever they want. So we're seeing some layoffs, I guess, with BioWare, but they've also been putting out some teaser trailers. So they're trying to keep it moving and keep it pushing. And I don't know. I think it's a tricky area how you handle this with a consumer. Ultimately, you don't spend your money if you don't appreciate what these companies are doing or don't be a fan of it. But it's a little more. That's pretty much the ultimate thing you can do. But a lot of these things aren't that clear cut. So Mass Effect, these teaser trailers. There's speculation, and these teasers sort of confirm that the next game would be a sequel to both the original trilogy and Mass Effect Andromeda, which took place over 600 years later in a different galaxy. So it's looking like these could be a sequel. These new teasers confirm that speculation. So it just says they'll do this song and dance again November 7th. But basically, if you want to get some I didn't watch these trailers, but if you want to get some more, a little bit of Mass Effect info or insight, there's been some new trailers out there, so go look for those. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, the next game I want to talk about is something that's been released. I don't know if I have too much interest in this, but it seems like there's been some interest in this across the universe, and that is RoboCop Rogue City. I really just don't know too much about RoboCop, but I think he has a pretty big fandom. So this game released on November 2nd, 2023 for PS5, Xbox Series X, and Series S, and Microsoft Windows. It's $59.99 for the standard edition. And the back of the box talk on this, hold on one second. The back of the box talk says, "Become the legendary part man, part machine, all cop hero, and bring justice to the dangerous, crime-ridden streets of old Detroit. Upload the law by any means necessary with your powerful Auto 9 or one of the other 20 weapons available. Eradicate criminals throughout this explosive first-person adventure. Your cyborg strength and cybernetic abilities can be upgraded as you progress to make you an even more formidable law enforcement officer." So this is an original story set in the world of RoboCop. The city of Old Detroit has been hit by a crime wave with a new enemy threatening the peace and order. Your investigation leads you right into the heart of a shadow conspiracy and an original story that takes place between RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3. With striking locations to explore and familiar faces to meet, Peter Weller, the original RoboCop actor, is even back on duty to voice the cybercop. So look at that. They got the pedigree going on right there, Mr. Peter Weller. And they say, get ready to protect the innocent and uphold the law. So, that sounds a little bit like Alan Wake 2. A city being hit or an area being hit with a crime wave. You got Mr. Detective Man coming in to solve the mystery and get some things done. So, if you want to play Alan Wake 2, or you can play RoboCop Rogue City, and they sounds like the same thing. I'm just kind of kidding there. I am just kidding there. If you really are listening to this for some information. But RoboCop, I don't know what to expect from this game. It seems kind of like a B game to me, but that's just my outside view. I don't really have an affinity for RoboCop, so it's not going to get me there either. But maybe if you're a big RoboCop fan, it at least sounds like this game is formidable and doing some decent things. So I think if you're a big RoboCop fan, I would say go look for this. So RoboCop Rogue City is out now. Okay, out now for $59.99. All right, a game that I really do love. It was the game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022, and I stand by that. That's something. I bet you could pick a game of the year and kind of regret it. And, maybe that'll happen to me over the course of the Dep Lewis Show. But I feel like I really nailed my first game of the year for myself on the show, and that was Splatoon 3. And there was an upcoming Splatfest coming to Splatoon 3, which are, weekend-long events where you pick a team and all your battles accrue points for that team, and then you get to determine who wins at the end of the weekend. So it's a very thematic thing. It's very fun. It's very community building, and it's a great reason to play Splatoon 3. So the next Splatfest is on November 17th, 2023 through November 19th, 2023. So if you're listening in real time, that's next weekend. And the team here is, you want to say, what is your go-to greeting? Is it a handshake? Is it a fist bump? Or is it a hug? And I don't know if I'm going to participate in this Splatfest, but let's see here. I do need to pick, since I won't talk to you until the Splatfest is occurring. Which team would I be on? Handshake, fist bump, or hug? I am team fist bump over here. And that's what it's going to be. Because the handshake, that's cool. Sometimes you don't know what to do with the handshake, so sometimes you can kind of fumble that. The hug, sometimes that's a little too personal. Sometimes people don't like a hug. Maybe I don't like a hug. And, just a little bit questionable. The fist bump feels pretty guaranteed. It's really not too personal, but it also can be personal. You can give someone a fist bump. You're still making a little connection there. So I'm going to go team fist bump. So if you want to rep the Dep Lewis Show, be team fist bump on the Splatfest coming up next weekend. So also, next week's Splatfest theme will be different from the one being held in Japan. So that's something different. The go-to greeting theme will be the same in North America, Europe, and Australia, but players in Japan will have a theme centered around different names for a dessert. So in previous Splatoon games, it wasn't unusual for this to happen for different regions to have their own Splatfest theme, but this marks the first time since Splatoon 3's release that one region will be competing in something different. So something to note there. I don't know if I have any Japanese listeners yet, but hopefully one day. And, you could be getting this information right here. Japanese listeners, you might be wondering if it's going to be the same as North America, Europe, and Australia, but it's not. So you need to listen to the Dep Lewis Show is all I want to tell you. So go check out that Splatfest coming up next week. Always a fun time. All right, so let's talk about some more fun times and keeping it with Nintendo here. Let's talk about some Nintendo sales. Let's talk about a game that I completed recently and I really like. It's in contention for Game of the Year for 2023 for this show, and that is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So it has already sold 4.3 million units globally, the biggest release for a Super Mario Bros. Title, a Super Mario title. So that's pretty amazing. So they've been selling like hotcakes out the gate. Company president Shuntaro Furukawa says Super Mario-related titles also tend to sell consistently over a long period of time. We anticipate this title will be an appealing choice for consumers during the upcoming holiday season and will continue to sell next year onwards as well. And I said, this was an awesome statement right here. I think Mr. Furukawa put on a clinic on how to, sell and pitch a game. He tells you, that the game's doing great, but then he also tells you that these games tend to sell well over a long period of time. So, that's something that everybody who has got a hand in the Nintendo pot's loving to hear. And then he says, and then he gives you a more immediate call to action. He says, I think we're going to sell a lot of these games during this holiday season as well. So not only did this game sell well at the gate, we are aware that these games sell well over time, and then we anticipate a pretty big spike coming up here during the holiday season because it's Mario and everybody loves Mario. So got to appreciate the confidence here, and I'm probably only appreciating that because I know the quality of this game is so high. So just very cool. And if you do have a game that is that high quality, then you should have some confidence. So go Nintendo. Love some Nintendo over here. Definitely a big fan. And they have no problem selling things. So they have revealed some other sales figures as well, and these were as of November 7th, 2023. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom has sold nearly 20 million copies, and then Pikmin 4 has already shipped 2.61 million copies since its July 21st launch. And I was listening to Nintendo Voice Chat today, another great podcast, and they were talking about how Pikmin sales are very low in comparison to other franchises, but Pikmin was. I was thinking that sounded pretty good for Pikmin, but they were talking about how Pikmin is a, lower on the tiers of Nintendo franchises of the big ones. But I just thought it was an interesting conversation and something I would like to, think about and talk about myself in the future. But, go check out Nintendo Voice Chat. I listen to them every week, just like you should listen to this show every week. So some more announcements, and with something else they talked about on the Nintendo Voice Chat and many other outlets. The Zelda movie, the Legend of Zelda movie has been announced. So Nintendo and Sony are teaming up to make a live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Sony is co-financing this new film with, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Avi Arad and Shigeru Miyamoto set to produce, and Wes Ball directing. So Arad, A-R-A-D is the last name, has been credited as a producer on numerous successful films over the years, most recently including Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, No Way Home, Far From Home, and Homecoming. And I'm a big fan of all those movies, so that is something great to know. He's also worked on upcoming films including Kraven the Hunter and the Borderlands movie, so Kraven the Hunter could be something I want to check out. And I really like the first and second Borderlands game, but I don't know if I'd want to see a movie. But something else interesting to know. There's plenty of stuff out here in the universe to entertain us. It's so blatantly apparent. All right, so let's get into Zelda movie. I have low hopes for that. I've heard Tom Holland could play Zelda. I've heard they probably will get an unknown person to play Link. I've also heard that they will probably just get an unknown person to play Link, and I think people's expectations of this are low, just because it's a storied franchise, and turning it into live action. You have Link doesn't even have speak. He doesn't even have dialogue. So are they going to give a character dialogue in this game? That'll be different. So I think this is a large hill to climb. But the other argument Nintendo Voice Chat was making is that Nintendo is trying to become more of like a multimedia or like giant entertainment company, something akin to Disney, and that if they want to really get there, they need to start making some great movies. And it would be a feather in their cap to have something that is very very good from one of their like core franchises. So this is a big opportunity for them, and whether or not they execute on it is something that I think a lot of people are going to have tempered expectations for, are going to be on a wait and see mode. But I think they're in a need to deliver mode for this facet of their business. So I think they have good incentive to try to make it good, and I just don't know. It's just a testy thing. And me being an older person, maybe it'll be for a younger market, but there's a lot of people my age and older that like Zelda, so we will see. All right, so that has been announced, and the last thing I want to talk about here is a little bit of some sad video game news, but something I just want to talk about and put out in the universe. Help these people out in any way that they may need. But the upcoming game Revenant Hill has been canceled, and it's something I was definitely tracking and wanted to play, and I really enjoyed the trailers and things I've seen of it, and the style looked really cool. This was the much anticipated follow-up to indie hit Night in the Woods. It's been canceled. According to development studio The Glory Society, the decision was made after members of the team were forced to step away from the project due to recent serious health issues. And they have also said the games take a while to make and usually require a good team working together. We've been lucky to have one such good team. Unfortunately, recent serious health issues have necessitated 2 key members stepping away from the project indefinitely. We are a small team and we each wear multiple hats. This is a loss of several hard-to-replace hats in an environment where all hats are needed. Given the realities of schedules, budgets, and the fraught task of working the whole project within those parameters, the team has amicably decided to suspend operations for all intents and purposes. This is the end of development of Revenant Hill. So they do leave a little, I guess would the word be a modicum of hope in there for like a resurgence of Revenant Hill, but I guess it's, they want to lower people's expectations there, and it might not ever occur. But it's possible this could get come to fruition in the future. But people's health is the most important thing. So best wishes to all those people. I know it's got to be sad too, dealing with losing a game you were creating, or having to give that up. So on top of some health issues, and other people that work there having to find new things to do, or hopefully they're just working on a different project within the same studio. But just shout out to all those people and well wishes, and all Dep Lewis Show listeners. Just send some good energy around the world to the Revenant Hill crew over there. Sad to see that game getting canceled, because I think a lot of people were looking forward to that. So that is not good, but wish them the best. All right, so that is going to wrap up the midsection of this show. So that was a lot of information. We talked about the Steam Deck OLED, which has been announced and coming soon. We talked about the PS Portal, which is coming soon. Those are coming out within the next week if you're listening in real time, so very soon. The PS5 Slim is available now. Grand Theft Auto 6, we talked about there's some information coming about that in December of this year of 2023. Mass Effect has some new trailers out there for an unknown game. RoboCop Rogue City is released right now. Upcoming Splatfest for Splatoon 3 of the week of November 17th, 2023, the weekend, 11/17 through 11/19, 2023. Nintendo has been having some great sales. Zelda, the Legend of Zelda movie has been announced. And then Revenant Hill, the game, has been canceled. So that's been all the news and all the things across the video game landscape in the past week that I wanted to tell you about. And we're going to take a break and come back for the final section of this show, which is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything outside the video game world. So I'm going to tell you about a comedy special I enjoyed, and then a book that I'm reading, and then we're going to get into some sports. Not a lot of sports talk this week, so it's going to be a little bit different because it's usually sports heavy. So if you're not a sports person, maybe check out the final section a little closer than you normally would, and listen to this music. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 56. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything outside of the video game world. So I usually talk about the worldwide world of sports, and we're going to get into that in just a few. But I want to tell you about a few other things first, a few other things I'm into. I watched a new comedy special this week, and it was Mike Feeney has a new YouTube special out. It's titled A Night at the Comedy Cellar. It's on Mike Feeney's YouTube channel, so go find that. It's only 20 minutes long, so it's a short watch, and that was nice. It has around almost 50,000 views currently, and it came out 2 weeks ago. So help Mike get his numbers up, get him up there through the roof, as the Are You Garbage Boys would say. And this is the back of the box talk on his special is for my second comedy special. I wanted to do something different than the traditional cookie cutter experience. I had an idea of performing in all 4 rooms of the Comedy Cellar. Village Underground, Fat Black Pussycat Lounge, and Fat Black Pussycat Bar in one night. So he does 4 little short sets in this 20-minute special in these 4 different rooms. So it says there's different vibes in the rooms. Different jokes might work in the rooms that don't. And he basically just wanted to showcase all these different rooms in the Comedy Cellar. So this was directed and edited by himself, which I think is a cool point to this. So tip your hat to him for that. And he was on Kill Tony recently with Giannis and Ryan Sickler. So I don't know too much about Mike Feeney. I've seen him on a few podcasts and enjoyed him. And then he was really good on that Kill Tony episode. And that Kill Tony episode was great in general. So I wanted to give this a shot, and especially with it only being 20 minutes long. That was a short commitment. So I think Mike did a smart thing here. So please go check it out. Go support Mike Feeney, his new special, Night at the Comedy Cellar. I've heard some people say hey, other people have done these type of things like Schultz and Fahim Anwar, and I think a few others have done multiple spots in one night and do a special. But this is his own take on it, and a place he performs a lot. And I don't think anyone has I think these are all a little bit nuanced and different. So I think I've said nuanced twice this podcast. I don't like that, but hopefully you know what I mean out there. So go check out Mike Feeney. Got the new YouTube special, A Night at the Comedy Cellar. So another thing I want to tell you about, something else I'm into, and that is a new book I'm reading. It just came out this prior week. It released on November 7, 2023, and it's written by Travis Baldree, and it's titled Bookshops and Bonedust. So I picked up a paperback copy of this. I think it was around $13. This book is around 352 pages. It also has a Kindle edition. I think it was a little bit cheaper than the paperback, maybe just by $1, but I like getting paperbacks of books or physical copies of books when I can. The back of the box talk on this is when an injury throws a young battle-hungry orc off her chosen path, she may find that what we need isn't always what we seek. Set in the world of New York Times best-selling Legends and Lattes, so that's the prior book. Travis Baldree's Bookshops and Bonedust takes us on a journey of high fantasy, first love, and secondhand books. So Viv is the main character here. She is wounded during her hunt for a powerful necromancer. She's packed off against her will to recuperate in the sleepy beach town of Murk, M-U-R-K. Not to be confused with friend of the show, M-I-R-K, Murk. So far from the action that she worries she'll never be able to return to it. What's a thwarted soldier a fortune to do? So these books, and especially the first one, Legend and Lattes, finds Viv at a coffee shop, and this one's going to find her at a bookshop. So it's more of a story of, I talked about this on the new Dep Lewis Freestyle show, but this is more of a story about people in the world and a small scenario, a small slice of life instead of a big epic battle. This is like they say, a battle-hungry orc is not able to fight anymore. What does she do? So it talks a little bit about that. It's a little bit of a nod to retirement and how people deal with that, which is a common thing. So it just has a cool theme. It's a little more laid back and relaxed, and this is set in a bookshop. So bookshops are also obviously very comfortable and just has that whole vibe. This whole book has that type of vibe. It's very cozy, as people would say, that people like to describe games as cozy sometimes, and this is a cozy book, and I think that's a pretty appropriate word, even though I don't necessarily like calling it that, but I think it's a great word to describe this, and it's just a very enjoyable read. You're not going to really be too stressed out reading this book, and most of the time you're just going to be sitting back enjoying what's given you, and that's what it's been so far with me reading this. And it's Skip the Line in books I'm reading. I was reading The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson, and I'm going to get back to that right after finishing this Bookshops and Bonedust. But that is out now, and I would say, go read the first book first if you'd like to. They say this is a prequel. It's set like 20 years before the first book, I believe. But the stories seem very similar. I don't know if it's really spoiling too much, but I would still try to go read the first book first, Legends and Lattes, before getting Bookshops and Bonedust. But if you really wanted to jump to Bookshops and Bonedust, I don't think there would be too much trouble. So either way, I think is fine. All right, so that's going to be it for entertainment things I like. So let's get into the worldwide world of sports. I don't have a lot to tell you about here, but let's see. Man, okay, so last Sunday, after the podcast last week, the Colts were at the Panthers were at home versus the Colts on Sunday, November 5th, at 4 p.m. start. I actually went to this game, and I forgot, so I went to this game. It got dark, it was later in the night, and Bryce had 2 pick sixes. There was no offense. Gardner Minshew was out there slinging it, and it was sad. There was a pick six right before the half, and a pick six later on in the game that really closed it out, and it's just been the story of the season. No offense. The defense didn't really even hold up too well that game, but I don't have too many notes on it, but it was just disappointing. I had fun going to the game as always, and I do enjoy that, but it would be nice to see a little more action out there on the field from the Panthers. And then the Panthers played, had a short week, and they played this last Thursday, if you're listening in real time. So they played on Thursday Night Football at the Chicago Bears, and the Panthers lost 16-13. So another a bad offensive effort. Bryce was 21 for 38 for 185 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He had 3 sacks for 15 yards, so did a little bit better on the sacks and the yardage there. But his throwing line is pretty typical for what he's been doing this year. Chuba Hubbard was the leading rusher with 9 carries for 23 yards. That was the leading rusher. Miles Sanders had 2 carries for -5 yards, so not getting it done on the ground. Strachan was the leading receiver, who was a new receiver to the team, with 45 yards, which was 1 catch. So he was the leader with 45 yards, and that was off 1 catch. Thielen was the second leading receiver with 6 catches for 42 yards. So, I don't think many other teams are having stats like this on such a consistent basis. And then for defense, Luvu had 11 tackles, which he's been a bright spot on the team, and then Derek Brown as well had 10, and D-Jack had 7. So it was nice to see D-Jack get up in the mix because he was in some trade rumors, and this was a good game for him to get up there in the tackle. So some positives, but mostly negative, and the offenses looked anemic, as they would say. So the Panthers are at home versus the Cowboys next weekend in Charlotte versus the Cowboys. Those tickets are very expensive, so I don't know if you'll find me at the game, but you never know. And then they'll be at the Titans after that, at the Bucks, and at the Saints. So after this home game versus the Cowboys, they have 3 on the road, and then I think it's home versus the Falcons. So not going so great for the Panthers. It's looking like, I don't know, I think maybe we're just going to have 1 win. I don't know how many more wins they will get, but we will see. I want to see the offense do better is the hope. So hopefully we'll see some of that. I think Frank Reich is a little bit on the hot seat, even though it's his first season. And I just think it's not going anywhere close to what people expected. But Carolina Panthers official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, and they will remain in that position. All right, so the official team of the Dep Lewis Show and the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, MLB, and the Atlanta Braves. It's the offseason, so not much there. I just want to say I think they should extend Max Fried. And I'm happy they exercised Charlie Morton's option for next year. And then the other thing, I'd like them to trade for Juan Soto. I think that'd be a great pipe dream. And people have been talking about Soto is going to get traded. So I'm just going to put that on the universe. I'd like to see that happen. The Braves can get Soto. I've read some articles about the Braves trading Mike Harris possibly, and I really am very negative on that. I read another one talking about trading Ozzie. I'm very negative on that. Don't understand it. Don't get it. Don't really want to consider it. But I wouldn't do it for Juan Soto. But if there's some way to get Juan Soto on the squad, I think the Braves should try to do it. Another thing I read that I didn't really get all the details on was I think Bally Sports is going away after next season. So that's the regional sports network for the Braves and the Hornets and the Hawks around here. and it's an annoying thing to have to try to get Bally. They got dropped from YouTube TV not too long, a couple years ago. So the only two ways you can stream Braves baseball is through Fubo TV or DirecTV Stream, are both $100 a month to subscribe to. The base package is cheaper, but you have to add on to get regional sports coverage. So it's really crazy, especially when you're someone who doesn't really watch too many other things besides sports, and particularly baseball. So it's really kind of crazy. I wish there would be a more like a la carte option for watching Braves games and paying for them. And we will see, and I'll definitely keep you updated on that. Not a whole lot of Brave stuff to report. We're kind of on Shohei watch just for baseball, and a little bit of that Soto news is being pretty big. And Alex Anthopoulos has been saying for the Braves they're going to spend some money and have a big offseason. So hopefully I'll be having some great news to report to you, is what I want to say. So that's going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section of this show. So we talked about Mike Feeney's new YouTube special, A Night at the Comedy Cellar. Talked about a great new book I'm reading called Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree, out now. The Panthers are going to be playing the Cowboys this upcoming week. Next weekend, since this is a Saturday show. Usually releases on Sunday. Usually have some football to watch, but that's not going to be the case. So tomorrow I'm not going to have any football. I'm not going to have any podcasts. So going to be able to enjoy a day. It's going to be the plan. And then we talked about the Atlanta Braves a little bit. So that's going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section. And in turn, that's going to wrap up the Dep Lewis Show, episode 56. So thank you for being a listener. Thank you for listening to the show. I hope you had some fun. I hope you got some video game information. I hope you got some good insight. Hopefully you want to go play a game, or go support the Panthers even. That would be something cool for you to do. But I want to reiterate some things from the beginning. If you can help the show out by following Dep Lewis Show everywhere, that'd be great. Please like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So anywhere podcasts are available. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. And then Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to support the show. You can pay for the ground floor tier, which is $1 a month, for the first 100 patrons only. With this tier, you will gain access to an additional weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. Episode 1 is out now. And episode 1 is also for free on YouTube. If you want to listen to how the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show is going to go, you can listen on YouTube for free. So go check out my YouTube channel. It's going to be the only one I put on there because I want this to be a Patreon exclusive, but I want to give people a taste of what they can expect. And then I liked on Patreon, you can put a preview of your episode. So I think I'm going to continue doing that. If people want to listen to previews of the episode, I think I have it marked at 3 minutes. So there will be a way for you to, gain some insight into the episode, beforehand. But if you want to get a taste, go to youtube.com/DepLewisShow and watch that first, or listen to that first episode of Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. This podcast releases on Wednesday, and it's a great way to get additional content and support the show. Patreon also has ad-free versions of the Dep Lewis Show's off series, plus more. After the first 100 patrons, the regular price for this tier will begin. So ground floor tier pricing will never change, and will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. Thank you for the support, and thank you for listening. You're the best listeners in the world. I really appreciate you everywhere you are. I can see the numbers on the different countries that listen, and have a whole bunch of different countries. So, shout out to you in all the different places. I really love seeing that, and hope you're doing great, and hope to learn some more, and I hope you keep listening, and hopefully our relationship will keep growing out here between podcast and listener. And just thank you for everything you do, and thank you to all the video games out there in the world. I want to tell you to look out for upcoming next week. We're going to have the Wednesday release of the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show, episode 2. And then, next Sunday, we're going to have a next podcast, which will be episode 57. So, please come back next week for all the best video game news, information, thoughts, and then much more. So, thank you for listening as always. This has been another episode of the Dep Lewis Show, and please come back next week for another one, and I will see you then.